Good morning. Welcome to Collecting Prints, the podcast. My name is Brian Walton. I'll be your host. This is our first episode of the podcast. And so it's an opportunity for me to introduce you to collecting the music of Prince. And it also allows me to share some tips and how you can get started and how you can grow a collection and what you could do after you've grown the collection. So great to have you all here this morning as we get started. First and foremost, I want to say that this is an opportunity for us to celebrate culture. It's only fitting that the show kicks off during Black Music Month 2025. And I'm excited to give you some information that can help you build a collection. But I want you to understand that the reason why I collect is to help preserve and advance the culture because music and collecting is a major part of Black culture and preserving history. And that's what this is about. And so glad to have you here as we talk about the artist formerly known as Prince and Prince, and talk about collecting the music and give you some information that may help you along with your collection. And so this is for beginners, those of you that are just thinking about, I know who Prince was, and I want to build a collection of the music. And so I'll give you an opportunity to learn about the different projects that Prince has done, the different types of things that people collect, because there are collectors that collect just about everything across the gambit. And I'll show some of those items today and give you a highlight as to some of the things to come. This show is going to introduce you to people that have been involved with the Prince legacy, that are major collectors themselves. And so while I've been collecting for quite some time, I also know some people that have been collecting for a lot longer than I have. And so I'll bring those people to you, bring some insights on how you can archive things, how you can store things, how you can present things, tell you about different marketplaces you can be on if you're interested in trading or selling items, and show you how really to build a collection. And so I collect Black culture across the board. It just so happens that my Prince collection is rather large. And so it's very interesting to me to show there's a lot of interest in it. And so I want to start off by answering a couple of frequently asked questions. Why collecting? Again, to preserve culture. And there's so many contributions that African Americans have made to the country and to the world. And music and the arts is a major piece of that. As well as academics and scholarship and all of the other things. But this is just one piece to show some of the artistry that has happened. And I believe that Prince is one of the greatest musicians that we have ever seen. And so this is an opportunity to share some of that with the public. Another frequently asked question is, why Prince? Well, Prince is a global icon whose following is very, very strong. He has a large number of a fan base across the world. I'm in communication with people all over the world, whether it be England, Australia, South America, talking about Prince items and how to obtain, how to get items for their collection. And so there's a huge demand. It's surprising. It's a huge demand. So he left us in 2016. But since then, there's been a steady increase in interest in Prince. Some of that is attributed to the estate and the work that they've done to protect the Paisley Park legacy. And we'll talk a little bit about that in some future episodes of the show. But there's also a huge demand because what he did was groundbreaking at the time. And there's so many artists that learn things from him, whether it be musicianship, how to perform, how to handle media, how to handle sales in the internet. He was one of the first to actually take sales directly to the internet, and his understanding of how to monetize his own music himself is unprecedented. And there's some key things that have happened within his career of his music. He has the most bootlegged album in music history, which is the Black Album, and we'll talk about that in a future episode. But this is an opportunity for you to find out about different things about Prince, who was a global icon. But the fact is, he was just a seriously funky musician, and people have appreciated that all over the world, which is wonderful. And so the fans are serious. Some are more fanatical than just fans, and that's great because there's room for everyone. And so this is an opportunity to show some of the pieces, talk about how to obtain it, and all of that. So one of the things that I'll do now is um, we have actually have live chat. So if there's anybody that wants to ask any questions, we'll try to answer those in the moment. We'll be on for a period today. We're fine tuning some things for our future episodes, but certainly want to hear if you have any questions or anything. If it's not answered by what we share in this initial segment, certainly know that it will be coming in future segments as we talk about different eras of prints, different types of collecting, and the different types of media to collect, because there's so many things that people collect. And I personally do not collect everything. I focus specifically on the actual music, whether it be official releases, sometimes unofficial releases that are called bootlegs. But usually I'm interested in collecting the actual official recordings of Prince. But every now and then there'll be something that piques my interest. I used to tell people that I'm not interested in posters and all of that. I have about 400 posters now, and so it it happens. Uh, it happens. But so I'll share a few key items from the collection, just so that um, you know that there are so many things you can collect from the music of Prince. I know people that collect the postcards, that collect the buttons, that collect the posters, collect tour merchandise, actual personal items, because there every now and then there are personal items from people that knew Prince or have worked with Prince in some capacity, had shared some of those items that have been given to them. And there are members that, musicians that work with Prince that have some of their own personal items that also have a huge significance and value. And so I'm here to help answer any questions that you may have. Again, I've been collecting for the better part of 30 years in some way, shape, or form. And so I know people that have been, at this longer than I have, and certainly closer to Prince and the actual legacy than I've been. But I've been fortunate that I've met some people along the way. So I'm going to show you a couple of items to get started off. And one of the items that I'm going to show you, it's fitting to start it off. We will cover some of this in a future segment, but I wanted to share one of the items. And so it's only fitting to start off with Prince's first commercial project, which was 1978's For You. This is an actual promotional mailer. This was sent out by Warner Brothers, and this was sent out in 1978 to radio stations across the country. So there's a limited number of these were produced and sent out because it's more rare than retail release because it's only promotional items. And so anything that is rare in limited number increases the scarcity, which in most cases heavily increases the value. And so here's an opportunity for you to see something that's actually pretty rare. This is the first promotional poster that was done for the For You album project, still in the original mailer, which is extremely hard to come by. And we'll open this up. I am in the process of getting this mounted. And so you can see this is the mailer. This is actually the first promo for his first project, Prince For You, on Warner Brothers Records and Tapes. And it's kept in very, very, very good condition. Condition is a key factor as well as far as value is concerned. And so that is one of those items that is pretty rare, but why not kick it off with something from the first project? And that is For You 1978 Prince. People ask me, well, what are the most valuable items? And I think that's a great question. Uh, So the most valuable items again are items that are either personal items from Prince that he used on stage, that were in his personal possession, or something that is in limited number. And so some of the things that have increased in popularity, I know that I've been collecting them for at least the last 10 years, are what are called uh, anytime you can get close to the recording process, and that recording process might be, you might have a test pressing, which is typically it was for a lot of different forms of media. So I've seen them in 45s and 12 inches and LPs. And so also there are cassettes that are done. So there are test pressings where the record company sends the recording. They press a few, first of all, to make sure the quality, but then they press a few that they give to the record company. Sometimes they are held by the record company. Sometimes they are initially sent out to record companies as promos before the promos are actually done, for those people that are, those radio personalities that are a little bit closer to the pulse, because they want to get it to them as quickly as possible. And so they may send those out, but typically they were done in numbers of 25 or less, typically. And they usually did not circulate. So to find a test pressing, and I may share some examples of what that looks like, but also is to get one which is called a mastering, whether it's a 12 inch, whether it's a cassette. And what we have here is a cassette that was mastered. This is actually from Bernie Grundman Mastering. And this was actually done for Paisley Park Warner Brothers. And this was done June 26, 1991. And this is actually the pressing for the single remix. And so this is actually run off the master. They check this out and they produce from what is mastered. The mastering just means the sound levels are appropriate for commercial radio, because what you do in the studio has to be fine tuned to be broadcast over media. And so this is an example of that. And these can be very, very pricey, uh, hard to get, hard to come by, but it's really, it's good to get things that are extremely limited and rare. And so it's exciting to talk about the music of Prince and to talk about Black culture, uh, which this is a major part of. And so we are going to share another item that I think is really interesting. Pardon the sound of the plastic ruffling, because this item got recently, and it's about storing the item. This is an actual sweatshirt from the Sign of the Times tour from Prince. And so it's been kept in very, very good shape. A pretty recent acquisition. And I'll give some shout outs to some folks that have helped along the way soon. And that is in the peach color. And so you get a chance to see what that looks like emblazoned with the logo for Sign of the Times. And so limited edition items, promotional, whether they be tour merchandise or really promos that went out to media, or were in-house, which are even the most rare to find. Things that were produced for executives to give the okay on. You will see artist proofs that are very similar, things from the art directors like Steve Park, who put together quite a few of the posters and album covers and all of that stuff. Uh, and so some of those things will make themselves available, and I would suggest that you look for those, because those are the things that will make your collection very, very unique. And so another thing I'll share is I want to share another poster, and this poster is very interesting because it is actually from Japan. And so it talks about his 10th album, which was Love Sexy in 1988. And this is the actual Japanese promo poster for that. I haven't seen another one of these. I'm sure they made more than one, but I haven't seen another one of these. So it's very rare. And so this is just to show you some of the items that you can collect. There are collectors that work to get a copy of every item, whether it be a US pressing, whether it be a pressing from England, France, Germany, Belgium, Italy, Argentina. There are many other, pressings that you can find, Jamaica. And so some people are what are called completists, and they like to have everything. And so uh, you have to decide what you want to focus on, and that will help guide you. Another thing that is important to consider collecting, again, are promotional items. This is a promotion um, for record stores for the Parade LP 1986. And this is a promo for the record store. It actually had the cassette case affixed to the promotion so that people would know where to get it. This is crafted for an album bin from back in the day, but it also did have the cassette affixed to this, and this came in a couple of different versions for record stores. This is one. This is the largest of that, and pretty hard to find. And so, just an example of some of the things that you can collect. Again, it is about preserving culture. And so, as a collector, you are preserving what was taking place in a period of time. So, it's definitely the history, but it's also the artistry of someone that we feel is significant and valuable to the culture itself. So, excited to do the podcast, excited to answer some questions, very excited to have some guests come on to the show later on and share some information with you from their perspective. But it's exciting to collect the music of Prince. And so, oh, wait a minute. I have another promotional item. This is also from For You. And so, for those people that are probably under 30, you won't know what this is, and it's okay. But if you are, you may know what this is, and I'll explain it to you. This is actually a promotion that was done for the For You project. And some will say, hey, that's a nice poster. Well, it's actually not a poster itself, it is actually what was used back in the day. It was a book cover. And so, for those of you that are much younger and may not be familiar, this was actually given as a promotion, and for your textbooks at your school, for those people of school age, we would use different things to cover the actual textbooks. We wanted to protect them. We didn't like them, but we wanted to protect them, and so we would get a book cover. And so Warner Brothers had done very well, in my opinion, with marketing in many cases. Some of the record companies have done very well with promoting artists and items, but Warner Brothers did a pretty good job. Prince did a good job himself of promoting his brand and his images and ideas, but this was actually done in limited quantities, and it's in phenomenal condition. Uh, and condition is a major factor for value, but you have to decide whether you're collecting for yourself, because you want to have it because you appreciated the artist. If you're collecting because you want to retain the value, which in my opinion is always important. I think that collecting is an investment, um, and I believe it should be treated as such, just like art, fine art, because this is fine art. It's just in a different form. And so, very excited to have you on the podcast, have you with me, and certainly let's see what else we want to talk about today. Have a few more items to show you. This is actually an in-house. This is actually a promo cassette. And we'll talk about storage in a later episode. This is actually a promotional cassette. It says the Paisley Park Studios label. And so this was done for to really promote the album. But these were typically done as in-house. Whenever it has this, it's not for retail use. You couldn't buy this anywhere. And so, depending on how close you were to the recording process, you could have a copy of this. You could have gotten this because you were a radio or television executive and they got it to promote something that Prince was doing, or you were a DJ that was close, or you worked at Paisley Park. or you were a friend of Prince. He often sent different items to different people, say, hey, check out my new project. And so to have something like this that you know you could not buy in the store increases its value. Very rarely will I talk the actual value because over time things change, but I will try to give you a ballpark in most cases of how much items are worth. But most Prince items, if they are limited in some way, you're talking somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 to 300 up to, three or four or $5,000 for the particular item. I have it figured out like a ratio of numbers, and so usually if there's 1,500 or less, you're talking about at least $1,000 for the item, and so keep that in mind. And the more limited, the more expensive it could be, and so it's an opportunity just to show off some items, but also show you how you can get them, how you can store them. So, one of the other things that we'll talk about um, is how do you collect? So, I'm going to break this down and we'll share different tidbits about this as we move forward. Different tidbits as we move forward. And so, I want to make sure I try to eliminate some of the shadows. Um, we're working on this in the studio. So, um, just want to share with you a little bit about how you can actually collect. So, there are a number of ways to gather items. Certainly, one of the easiest ways is to, go on eBay and look for things, but that can be tough because you don't know who is selling it to you. You don't know the quality. You don't know the condition. You can find as much as you can out from the photos, but that can be pretty tough, and everyone on eBay is not reputable. So that's something to think about. You should also consider joining a Prince group or another group of Prince collectors. And there are a number of groups out there that you can join. I'll share shortly in my thank you some of the people that have helped me along the way, gather things and build a collection. But certainly, that's one way to do it. I would say the biggest thing about collecting is know the market. So that means you should spend some time on eBay seeing trends and selling so that you know about how much something an item is worth. That gives you an idea of, if you were to sell an item, you would pretty much know what it was worth. Also, it lets you know how much you can expect to pay for a particular item. And there will be some people that will post items that are just outrageously high priced. And sometimes that's just to see if anybody's going to be crazy enough to buy it at that price. But some items are truly worth more than what they are listed for. And so you have to know how to do that. And you will only know that by studying it, taking the time and watch the trends and figuring that part out. Again, joining Prince groups will help you do that. But really paying attention is the number one thing that I would say. As you travel, you go to different areas, different communities. There may be an estate sale, there may be a thrift store, there may be a used music or CD store that will have items. There's so many different ways to get items for your collection. You can also trade or swap with other collectors if you have more than one item. But the key is to find other people that are like-minded, that you feel are trustworthy, which is a big deal because when people understand the demand for collectibles, there are some people that may not be reputable. They're saying, well, hey, maybe there's a way that I can separate people from their money without actually giving them the items. And so you have to be careful about that. But once you join the right group and you get to know people, you'll start to understand what you're dealing with, and you'll know who you can pretty much trust and who you can't. So, um, yeah. So, at this time, certainly one of the things that I want to do is say some thank yous. I want to say thank you to my parents, my late father, Frank R. Walton, and my mom, 90 years old. God bless her, doing a great job. My brother, my sister, people that have been close to me growing up. I'd say one of the things that my dad was serious about culture, and he was a former historian himself, author of many, many, many books. and I got the chance in going through college to learn more about it. As a matter of fact, the learning at the Nimburo Cultural Center at the University of Maryland was instrumental in my development and growth. I later worked in the Black press at the Washington Informer newspaper, Washington, D.C. Later started my own, the Washington Arts and Entertainment magazine, which had morphed into Red Carpet DC, where we did events and promotions in the Washington, D.C. area for years. Relocated to California in 2016 with my wife, and have, moved into uh, media and knew that the collection was a major part of what I've done. And so my cultural collection of Black cultural items and popular cultural items is massive. And we're working on a few different displays of the collection over time and a permanent place to house it. But the Prince collection is a significant part of it. And so, I would say that I probably have certainly over 10,000 Prince items, whether they be uh, buttons, 45s, albums, 12 inches, posters. Promotional material is really what I focus on, things that are limited in quantity. But and they have varying values. Some of them are, very low in value, but some of them are extremely high in value. And so later on in a future episode, we'll talk about how you appraise your collection, how you ensure your collection, how you store your collection, which is critical. There's some things you have to really consider and think about uh, while you're doing it, because depending on where you live and depending on what storage facilities you have available, that can play a major part into how you can keep and maintain a collection, and keep it safe, because we want to make sure that we keep it in as good a condition as possible, because that's where your value is. I know collectors that only purchase items that are still sealed. I know collectors that only purchase items that are pristine in condition. And I've gone through that phase. Very few of my items are not in at least what is considered very fine or above. And so you just have to figure out where you want to be. But I would say, there are a number of ways of the how to do it, how to obtain the items, how to communicate with other collectors to find out how you can get more items, going to different events. We'll talk about autographs in the future, certainly, because that's a category unto itself, whether it be something that was autographed by Prince or something that was autographed by one of the related artists. And so you're talking about Morris Day and the Time, Vanity. You're talking about Sheila E. And so there are a number of people collected with the Prince family, that the Purple family, that are collectible in their own right, considered related artists. And so we'll talk about that. Um, and we'll talk about different items that are just very, very, very rare. So, we'll do a showcase. In fact, what I'll do is I'll record a showcase of some items and maybe do it by era. And that could be that might be very helpful for people to see just some of the things. I don't claim to have everything that's out there, but I have pretty much seen just about everything that's out there at this point in the collecting space. But yeah, but back to thank you. Certainly thank the family. Thank Nabruto Cultural Center. Very helpful. The late James Otis Williams, Dr. Ann Reese Carr as well. Thank you for giving me a foundation and an opportunity. I later taught at the university and taught African American Studies, history at the University of Maryland at College Park, which sort of gave me the foundation of understanding that the things that we experience in culture are historical. And sometimes it's great to be in the moment and know that you're experiencing living history. And that's what Prince collecting is for me, because I knew that this was an artist unlike any other artist. And so he and Michael Jackson are um, major, major icons for um, major icons for the industry. But of course, he learned from James Brown, and then there are other Duke Ellington, Cab Calloway, and there's so many other people that we will talk about over the course of our time. That we are celebrating Black culture in a major way by talking about the artists of the music of Prince. because he's such a central figure in speaking about things that were happening in the world, but also just being a black male in America, trying to have freedom of expression, and really some of the victories that he had, because he did have some significant victories that we can all learn from, about how to fight for our own rights and how to stand up for ourselves. And so Prince is a major icon in a number of different ways. And so certainly we'll be sharing that. Um, Other than some of my go-to sellers in the print space, I have to shout out um, Eric Rogers and Miss Lulu. What's happening from Paisley, Five and Dime? They have been instrumental in helping me grow my collection, because he has a strong relationship with Paisley Parkhead. Done some work for Prince in the past, and knows quite a few of the people, and certainly is well trusted. And so, Eric, shout out to you. Definitely will. I'll try to have you on a future show. But there are people that have been instrumental in helping me build this collection, and I certainly want to say thank you to them for helping me get to this point. But also looking at the opportunity, really to help other people grow their collection, because these collections are very, very valuable. And I want you to be able to look at your collection, if you're so interested, to look at your collection as a collection of fine art, which it is, and show you how to go down the road of treating it as such, because very wealthy people often have investments that are not liquid cash, but have something that they know is valuable and increases in value over time. And collecting the music of Prince is certainly in that category. But I hope that this has been a great intro for you to the world of Prince. We will get into more specifics, and I will share some step by steps and how to's. But why are we collecting Prince? To celebrate Black culture. We're collecting Prince because he's a major global icon, and his music was just super funky. You can't get beyond that. Definitely, he picked up things from those that came before him. And so you can see those influence, but you can also see how much his music and his thinking influenced artists after him, and that still influence artists today. So excited about that. Um, and so I would say start with something that you like. The field of collecting is huge. There's a space for you in it, but start with what you like. If there's a particular album project that you like that Prince did, a particular time period, focus on that and start there, and see what you can collect, and then your collection will grow. It takes a good amount of time to build a major collection, but I'm here to help you, and there's several other people out that are here to help you actually grow your collection, so that you have something that you can pass down to future generations, but also preserve the history of what was taking place in America at that time. And so it's only fitting again for us to be here at the kickoff of Black Music Month, June 2025, to say, hey, collecting the culture is an important thing to do. And this is just focusing on collecting the music of Prince. But we're excited to bring you information. This is just the introductory episode of the podcast, Collecting Prince. But look forward to more information. Look forward to opportunity for you to pick up items. We will do some trivia and some giveaways, so there will be an opportunity for you to obtain some very, very, very rare items, with just by participation, and just by maybe answering some trivia about the artist or some related artists in what we consider the Purple family. But thank you for your time today, and we will be back with future episodes to share all about the discography, about the albums that Prince has done, talk about how to obtain rare items, how to get signatures, how to find out the signature is real. That's major. because there are a lot of fake signatures out there, and it looks like I don't know what people were doing, thinking they can copy the signature. But hey, that's out there. But we're excited to share this world with you and preview a couple of items. Um, so beautiful Northern California in the Bay Area, and so I'm subject to the wind, but also wanted to share some items. This is an actual promo cassette, video cassette, VHS, and so. Um, Collecting the music takes you, it's a time capsule, takes you through time, because you see things from the early 80s. You'll come across floppy disk, you'll come across uh, beta videos, VHS videos, DVDs, 3-inch CDs, standard CDs. You'll come across digital audio tapes, DAT tapes, which are used for the recording process and for performance. And we'll talk about some of the other forms of media that cut across what we do. But excited to have you on this journey with us. This is just the first episode in Collecting Prints, the podcast. I'm your host, Brian Walton, coming to you from the Bay Area, originally from the Washington, D.C. area. Got to give some love to home, to my folks in the DMV. And excited about what we can do, talking about you building your collection of the music of Prince. Thank you so much for your time today. We'll talk soon.